But see over here, I passed in these argument as, okay, I passed it as separate arguments to the print function. Okay, so this is one entire argument, and this is the next argument, right? So when you pass an argument into the print function this way, separately, by default, when they are displayed with a space separating them. So this is one argument. You typed the user date so that you can see it here. You typed this, and then there's a space, because that's how it works. By default, when you pass arguments into the print function, okay, separate them with commas, they will be displayed with a space separating them. That's why we see a space here. Now you can change the default space. That space, you can change it, the default behavior, from a space to something else. In this case, I don't want to display these two arguments with a space. I wanted to display the first value and then break that line, so this can follow it on the next line. So I can change the separator from a space, okay, to a new line character, to a line break. So I'm saying print the first argument, don't separate it with a space, separate it with a new line, which means move the position from here, from the end of this line to the next line. So anything that comes after this will be displayed from that next line going. And the way I can change that separator from a space to a new line is by passing in, okay, typing in a comma and passing in another argument, which is SCP. It stands for separator. I can change the default using the equal sign and pass in the value in the new separator in double quotations. So change the separator from a space to now a new line character. The way I type in the new line character is a \n. So \n together is an escape sequence. When it sees this, it knows that it's a new line. It will move the position from the end of, wherever you're creating this \n to the next line, and anything that follows that value, okay, will be displayed from the next line going. In this case, we are changing the separator over here to a new line. So display the value, first argument, create a new line, display the next argument, right? So we're changing the separator. Let's try just to see if that has taken effect. So 12, 25, and then 2018. Oops, I think I typed in something. Hold on. I run the program again. All right, let's see here. 12, 25, 2018. Hit enter. It says you type this, and then the format of your date was changed to this, right? So we're getting there. We just need to change the month, okay, to the name of the month. In this case, it should say December 25th, 2018. It should say that, right? So let's work on that. In order to do that, we need an array, okay, an array that contains the names of the month. So I'm going to call this another array. In Java, you call it an array. in Python, it's a list, right? It's really an array, but in Python, it's called a list. So let's go to the list containing the names of the month. So I'm going to call this names of month names. Let's call it month names. Month names is going to be a list, and I'm going to basically type in all the names of the month in here. Just bear with me here. Okay, so January, then just bear with me here. Okay, so January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So you can type it this way, but I know I'm exceeding this line here, so I want to break it. I'm going to break it somewhere around here. Before I break a line, I type in the \, hit enter. I'm still exceeding it, so I'm going to break it somewhere around here. Before I break it, I type in the \, hit enter. Okay, so I have the month names here. So we have our date month value. We have it here, right? And we don't want to display the month this way. We don't want to display the month like we did over here, as in 12. If it's 12, it should say December. If it's 1, it should say January. If it's 3, it should say March, right? This is the first, so these are the individual elements in the month names. And when you're counting, right, when you're counting, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So when we have 12, we know we are referring to December. When we have 1, we know we're referring to January. When we have 3, we know we're referring to March. So, but the thing is, when you're accessing elements in the list, you don't just access it by their, by their position in terms of when you're counting them. You access them by their index or by their indices. So the first element in a list has an index of 0, and that's how you access it, using its index of 0. The first element has an index of 0. Indexing starts from 0. The next element has an index of 1. The third element has an index of 2. The fourth element has an index of 3. The 12th element has an index of 11, right? So realize that to access the particular element, right, it's really subtract 1 from it. So this is the first element, right? First, that's 1. So you subtract 1 from it to get the index. You use the index to access the element. So if we have a month of 12, we are referring to December, all right? That's the 12th month. But in order to access it in this list, we need to use its index. And to access the 12th element is index 11 and not 12, because indexing starts from 0. This is first month, and so we use index 0. If you're referring to the 11th month, we use index 10, right? So when we have the date month value, which is 12, in order to get the index of the 12th element, we need to subtract 1 from this value to get the index. All right, the index of the last element in a list is always 1 less than the length of the list. In this case, the length of the list is how many elements are in this list. There are 12 elements in this list, and the index of the last element is always 1 less than the length of the list, which is 12. 12 minus 1 is 11. Okay, so just note that. So if we have a month of 12, for example, in order to get the index to be able to refer to that month, so that month's actual name, we need to subtract 1 from that month value to get an index. So before we start constructing the string, right below it, we have the month value. I'm going to get the month index, right? To get the month index, I'm going to take the date month value, all right? And I'm going to subtract 1 from it. This is going to evaluate and give us the month index, the user date month index. Okay, so I'm going to create a variable to store that. So user date month index, right? This is going to store it's going to take the user date month value minus 1, and that's going to be the user date month index, right? And in order to get the user date actual month text, like the month name, right, we can refer to the month names list, and then we can use the square brackets using the user date month index, right, to access the month name. This is going to evaluate to become the user date month name. So I'm going to create a variable called user date month name that's going to store the month name, okay, of that user date month value. So we took the user date month value, we subtracted 1 from it to get the user date month index. This is what we're going to use this index to access the month name, okay, of that particular month. That particular month, right? We use the index here to access the month name of that particular month. Okay, so in order to access the month name, we refer to the month names list, and we give it the user date month index to get the actual month name, right? So in our format string, we don't want to form the string using the date month value. This time around, we want to use the date month name. Okay, we change it to we get the actual name of the month. And then we form our string, and we pass our string to this function and display it instead of displaying 12. So when I run this program, let's see if we have any errors first of all. So I'm going to type in still the same format. In this format, we type the month first. So December, let's type Christmas, 25th, 2018. Hit enter. Okay, so this is the error that I was talking about. I was expecting it. All right, so over here, it says unsupported operand types for str and int. Okay, over here I'm taking the user date month value, which we know according to this example is 12, right? 12 minus 1 should give us 11. But the thing is, this user date month value, we got it from here. If you take this value, we got the month value from the list. Remember, the user date value is in the list. This value is a string. When we are returning it as a string. So user date month value over here is a string, and we are taking the string and subtracting 1 from it. It won't work. We need this as a number. We can't subtract 1 from a string. We need this value converted to a number first before we can subtract 1 and store it here. So that's why it's saying unsupported operand types for string and int, right? You can't just take 1 from string. So it's saying this has to be a number. So I'm going to convert it to an int by passing the int function around it. Stop this. I'm going to pass the int function around this value here. Okay, so now convert this value to an int and then subtract 1 from it and store it here. Let's see if that fixes it. So run the program, December, let's just do this. So December 25th, 2018, hit enter, and now it says the format of your date was changed to December 25th, 2018. It's exactly what the question wanted us to do, right? So let's try again with the example in the question. I'm going to type in March, which is, we know it's 3, right? So 3, the day is going to be 12, and then the year is going to be 2014. So when I hit enter, now it says you type in this value, the format of your date was changed to March 12, 2014. Exactly what the question wanted us to do. All right, so we're done. We're done. So if you have any questions, please comment down below and I'll do everything to respond to them. Thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time with the next video. All right then, bye-bye.